Hey guys, Mr. Ridgway here. So this is going to be a very short video, but I'm going to be taking you through the basics of our next lesson, which is going to be Audacious America in Asia and the Caribbean. And so this whole unit, Unit 10 that we've been looking at, is really talking about America after the Civil War going places. And so we've already discussed the Spanish-American War, both in Cuba and the Philippines. We've kind of looked at some examples of imperialism there. And today we're just going to kind of be looking at a broad swath of other examples of this happening in other places. So what we're going to be doing here, okay, is we're going to be explaining the American desires in Asia and the Caribbean in terms of two different viewpoints. One, manifest destiny, okay, and then the second is going to be through trade or economics. Okay, and then we are going to later, and I'll do this with you guys, summarizing the foreign policy philosophies, of Taft, Roosevelt, and also Woodrow Wilson. Okay, so I will actually not be helping you out very much with the American desires in Asia and the Caribbean. I'll kind of briefly describe how you'll be doing that, but this is mostly going to be on you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so it says I'm going to reset my video. There we go. From the 1890s to the 1910s, America increasingly involved itself in Asia and the Caribbean. So why? Then we're going to examine two motivations present in 5 different places and or people. So we're going to look at manifest destiny, and then economic profit and trade. So using the worksheet provided, explain what happened in 3 of them, and especially how it ties into manifest destiny and economic profits and trade. Okay, so let's take a look at the worksheet that we're going to do here first, and then I'll explain these locations. Okay, so the worksheet that we're going to be taking a look at here is actually pretty straightforward. So there's going to be 5 sections. Okay, so we have the Panama Canal, Hawaii, 2 individuals, Mahan and Beveridge. Okay, and then the Boxer Rebellion and Japan. And you'll notice at the very center it says commonalities, and I've defined both these terms here for you. Manifest destiny, the belief that the U.S. had a God-given duty to spread democracy, ideals, liberty to the globe. And then economic profit and trade, looking for expanding U.S. markets and access to new goods and places to sell products. Okay, so our goal here is we're going to take you're going to pick 3 of them. Okay, so maybe it's Panama Canal, Japan, and these 2 individuals over here, and you're going to explain maybe just some brief information about them, summarize them, okay, and then how do they tie into those larger ideas. Okay, now some of them may not be both. Some of them might only be one. And in those cases, you definitely want to go really into depth into how those, you really want to analyze how those events go deep into them and how they're kind of embedded in that context. Okay, so you can see our events right here. You simply click on them to access them, and then it takes you to the slide. Okay, so I'm going to click on Hawaii here. Okay, and then if you want to go back to the map, our resources are right here that you use. We'll go back to the map. Okay, we just click the flag, and then we're back. Right? My point here is that we're going to continue all the way on, and I want to take just a brief moment, okay, to note these for you guys before you leave, and I'll try to explain these here and give some more context. Okay, so when we are talking about this time period, again, we're before the, just after or during, I guess, yeah, just after probably is the best way to put it, the Spanish-American War up to World War I. There's kind of 3 distinct foreign policies that I do want to mention. Okay, so the first one is called dollar diplomacy, and this is the one, really the foreign policy that's given to Taft. And what dollar diplomacy theorizes is that by the U.S. getting economically involved, okay, mostly through trade and then also giving loans to other countries, this was the best way to spread American influence and then also American prosperity, both at home and abroad. Okay, so by that's why it's called dollar diplomacy, is because it's all through money and economics. And so again, the idea is that you can see how heavily this is tied into trade and investment and these kind of things. Okay, and that was Taft's plan. And again, this should kind of make sense because we do know from our lesson on TR and the fallout that happened between TR and Taft was that Taft was a little bit more business friendly, okay, in terms of progressivism. All right, so Roosevelt, speaking of TR, he had something that he added on foreign policy-wise called the Roosevelt Corollary. Okay, now we have in DCUSH, U.S. history, we have not talked about the Monroe Doctrine. Okay, so the Monroe Doctrine goes all the way back to the President James Monroe, which is when this was published. And what the Monroe Doctrine said was that no European power, after when this proclamation was made, okay, could invade the Western Hemisphere. Europeans essentially needed to stay out of business that was going on this side of the ocean. Now, the thing that that basically the Monroe Doctrine did was it was simply just a metaphorical line. It really didn't exist, and truth be told, it was really enforced by the British Navy, which sounds kind of ironic, and it is ironic. However, in this case, Roosevelt's adding something onto that, okay, and that's the U.S. has a right to intervene in the Western Hemisphere before any Europeans do to prevent such European influence. Okay, so this is kind of like a preemptive action. The U.S. has this ability to intervene in any country in the Western Hemisphere before Europeans do so. Okay, and so that's, you can see that Roosevelt, being kind of from what we know about TR and our lesson on him, is a bit of a more aggressive / imperialist person. This should make some kind of sense. Okay, now Wilson and Woodrow Wilson, who will be the president during World War I and before, okay, is going to be what we call progressive idealism, or just idealism. And Woodrow Wilson, as we will find out through our lesson coming up here soon on the 14 points, and then also in World War I, was a very idealistic man. He had very, very high beliefs and expectations of what human beings were capable of doing. So it's, as he said, a new world order founded on morality, principles, and, as he saw it, a near religious duty for the United States to advance democracy. Okay, so a little bit of, I guess you could say in there, manifest destiny, but Woodrow Wilson really did believe that that was the U.S.'s role in the world, is that he kind of had this he believed that people had the ability to go beyond and to cooperate with each other on a level that really kind of synergized and made the world a better place. And as you'll see, he was quite bitterly disappointed with that. Okay, other than that, that's the end of this lesson, and until the next one, where we start World War I, I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.